Sometimes Forex trading is a wild and woolly place to be. That's why Hugh's here, to pose your questions to Walter, the naked Forex guy. Hugh's got questions, and Walter's got the answers. Here at the Truth About FX podcast.
Hey Walter, this is a sticky question this week, but this is something that comes up a lot. What are the benefits and downsides of trade copying services like eToro or Amaya FX Book or Zulu Trade?
Yeah. Okay. So there's a couple of thoughts I have about this. So the good news is you can go through and you can sort the wheat from the chaff, and you know who's good and who isn't, or at least who's hot and who's not. Mm-hmm. Right. So that's the good news. The bad news is you still have to deal with all of the normal things that you get when you're trading a system or you're investing in a fund, which is the drawdowns and the highs and the lows and so forth. The other part that I've noticed with some of these is there's also that technology aspect of it. So sometimes what these will do is they might lump Forex traders in the same boat with commodity traders or Forex traders with stock traders, and so they're limited in how they can trade through the system. A lot of people don't think about this, but as a trader, you're often limited in how many positions you can take and your so-called leverage and things like that if you're a trader offering services in one that's not just for Forex traders, right? Mm-hmm. So that's something to think about, because that actually severely restricts what's possible in terms of leverage and position and number of positions and things like that. But beyond that, the other thing that you've got to pay attention to is the actual, how you hook this up to your account, because this is like a bridge between the system and your account, and sometimes that connection doesn't always match up. And anyone who's listening who's traded trading robots knows about this, right? So you will often see it go down, and what that means is the connection between, for example, Zulu and your account might not be as stable as you'd like. So these are the sorts of things you kind of have to be vigilant and babysit it as well. And then the normal things come into the line. We've talked about this in an earlier podcast where we were talking about, this idea of waiting for a fund or an individual to have a bad patch, and then you actually jump in and invest. Well, that's the same sort of thing that you should think about doing when you're looking at, following a trader or hooking up your account to a trader, because they're going to go through ups and downs, and they're going to have a normal equity curve like anyone else, and so you kind of want to get in on the dip. Now, the other thing is, if you find an equity curve that is just like a 45-degree angle, it just goes straight up. The other thing I would say, beware, right? Beware what you wish for, because those are usually it's almost like they're gaming the system, and so they've established that there's an inefficiency. Something's going on there, and it can go really, really well for a while, and then usually what will end up happening is it just falls off the cliff. So I would definitely look for a normal curve, not a 45-degree angle. So I'd look for one that goes up and down, little zigs and zags, and I would just wait for it to pull back. And then if you're not good with technology, you definitely want to get someone who can, show you how to set this up so that, you have a fail-safe. Because the last thing you want is a trade locked in your account, and then then you lose connection, and then you don't get out of that trade or something like that. So there's lots of things in sort of that aspect that you need to consider. But that would be my advice: is watch out for the too good to believe equity curves. Anticipate that there's going to be drawdowns, and maybe use that to get in and follow one of these traders. And then definitely make sure that you've got the technology aspect of it all ironed out. So that's what I would say.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the advice. I don't have too much experience with this kind of thing, so I have nothing to add. But it's really interesting that you mentioned that sometimes commodity and stock traders get lumped in, because I guess if you were in something like that, then you would have to conform to pattern day trading rules or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I've done this, and you're exactly right. So what ends up happening is they will give you 20-to-1 leverage or something where it's just not, or 10-to-1 or something, and what ends up happening is you're like, oh, I can't actually take any more trades, and so you miss out. You normally have 4 or 5 positions on, and you only have 3 or whatever, and these sorts of things happen. So it's critical that you understand. And so I would actually probably just say forget about those that lump them all together and just look at like my FX book or something where it's just Forex traders. That's the better one to go with, really.
Okay. Well, great advice. Thanks so much.
Okay. See ya.
Yeah.